So this is the first of many appointments. This is the initial appointment for the transplant team's orientation. Got a whole crew.
Let me get all this information we need.
Yeah. Yeah. Fifth floor. How you feeling? You look like Parker right there. I'm hungry. We all are.
Y'all ready to go back up there?
Yeah. Tell us about the orientation.
I'm done. Very informative. A lot of repetitive stuff. Kaiser was very thorough, so a lot of stuff they went over we had heard already. But we at least started the donor application process. So, moving right along. I feel like we're gonna be one of those 6-monters, like in and out. Like I don't feel like it's gonna be an issue at all. And then we learned that like the donor process or like cross and matching ain't as heavy. They were just like basically you got to be the same blood type. But honestly, I felt empowered because it was like mom got 3 options. You know what I mean? Like that was fun. Mom, where you going? It's your turn.
Question. When they ask you about how often you drink,
I said, should I tell the truth?
She asked me, should I be honest? I said yes. I said yes. But what did you tell me?
No, don't be honest. Automatic elimination.
I'm not nervous because I think something could go wrong. I think my nerves just comes from just everything. I think anytime you go under the knife, like anytime you have to have surgery, you know, it's always a risk involved. You know, I think about my girls. And then on the other side, it's like, it's not just me going through it. It's like my mom is getting ready to have like major surgery too. So the nerves of, you know, how her body will react to the kidney she receives. You know, you read about so many things and it's natural to think about the complications that I might have to go through after the surgery, and hopefully everything is seamless, but you think about the things that could possibly go wrong and things that you know, it could be harder. And I'm a busybody, so it's hard for me to sit still. And just like, it's just real serious. Like it's a serious operation. So the nerves of me going under the knife and my mom going under the knife, and just those nerves just start to kick in.
I'm not nervous. I think I'm just more of like feeling not knowing the known.
Oh, the unknowns.
The unknowns is basically what I'm feeling. Still a lot of questions that needs to be answered. It's a lot of things I think about, the after effects, you know. But my mind keeps telling me to just stay focused, everything gonna be okay. I know God got me and stuff, but I think I'm not nervous. I don't feel nervous going in or whatever, but it's just more so thinking the after effects, the unknown. I think that's what I'm more worried about, you know, things that could have happened, might happen, you know, stuff like that.
So today is the follow-up to her second fistula procedure. Let me see her arm. So she had a second surgery done to try and get the access prepared for dialysis. Unfortunately, the flow is pretty slow and actually less than it was before. So we'll see what the doctor has to say about that, but it's a strong possibility that he gonna have to go back in there, unfortunately. And she not happy about that.
I don't do nothing at all until it's time for me to start dialysis.
Yeah,
We'll see in a minute when you come in.
we shall see.
My biggest fear is basically going under the knife for one and not coming out being the same. That's my biggest fear really. And I've been under the knife a few times, but this one is more of a serious, which all of them are serious, but this one is more, have me more being fearful because I know what I'm going to, and I think I'm thinking more of the after effects, the rejections is basically, that's my biggest fear. It's just rejection.
I think through this whole process, my biggest fear is that we go through all this. You know, I donate my kidney. She goes under the knife and receives a kidney, and her body rejects the kidney. And life becomes actually harder than it was before, because I think that even though she has had chronic kidney disease, we've been blessed for her not to have to go on dialysis. So we haven't had to experience, you know, the harsh, you know, reality of how life is with being on dialysis and the toll it takes on your body and on your family. She hasn't had to be on dialysis. You know, we've been blessed for her to be able to receive a kidney without having to go on dialysis. So my fear is her body rejected it and life actually being, you know, harder post receiving a kidney than it is now, because even with her, you know, her kidneys failing as bad as it is, she still has a really good quality of life and is still able to interact with her grandkids, her kids, her family really, really good. So I think that's really, you know, my biggest fear. I feel like I'll be fine, you know, I'll bounce back eventually. I've had 2 C-sections, so, but my biggest fear is mostly in regards to her rejection. This meeting or this appointment is for the follow-up to, why are you doing that? What surgery, what number surgery? 3. So this is the follow-up to the 3rd surgery where they went back in and redid a whole new fistula. So the doctor's gonna be checking to see if it's thumping and pumping good enough, or I'm not even gonna put that in the air, but make sure it's pumping and thumping good enough and maturing so that in the event that she does have to do dialysis, she's good. You look good, you look good. Let us see your scar. So that's the 3rd one. Oh, it's healing up better. It's just that like a lump there. It's a lump. Oh yeah, you can feel that bad boy. This was the first one. And then that's the 2nd one. And it's a balloon up in there. And then this is the 3rd. You can feel it, the blood flowing, it getting stronger. So, we'll see what the doctors say, how you feel. You posing. All right, Parker.
When did you first find out you started to have kidney problems?
Well, basically, going back down to when I first started having my kids, every time I used to go to the doctor, they used to always tell me that I had protein in my urine, and it started from there. But back then, I wasn't aware of what the protein was then in the urine. I didn't know it can all trickle down to affect the kidney. You know, they used to always tell me, oh, we got protein in your urine, and I used to come up with all kind of excuses, lies, like, oh yeah, well, I just got home administration, or yeah, I just had infection, or just not knowing then that it was affecting the kidney. And he used to tell me all that for years. But finally, when it really kicked in was a couple of years ago. Seemed like once I lost my brother Michael, it seemed like that's when everything started falling and happening then was once I lost my brother Michael. And I just started seeing like going downhill. It seemed like everything started hitting me at once. I never forget, I remember the day of his service, we were getting ready to go to the service, and Uncle Joe was here. Uncle Joe had always knew what was going on, but we got that phone call. And we was getting ready to leave going to his service, and they called, and I put it on speaker, and I was glad he was able to be with me right there. And they told me then, you know, hey, Miss Taylor, I'm calling in, you gotta come in, and it's time, and I never forget that phone call. And it was right before 15 minutes for the service. I would never forget that call. And I was in denial for a long time until maybe a year ago. And then reality started kicking in. Then I had to really, really come to the agreement and accept it that this is really what's happening, but I really feel like my health started going down more with all of the stuff that I went through with his loss. I really, really think that has a lot to do with my health. Because, it could have been prevented a little longer, but I think with all that happening, that's what made it go down a little faster than it did. But
So when they called you, did they call to say that you were at like a lower level of having chronic kidney disease, or was that the time when they told you you have chronic kidney disease or your kidneys are failing even more? Or
actually, I've been noted that my kidney was going down. I just never shared it. And when they made that call that day, when we was leaving for the services, and Joe already knew. And just so happened when they called, they just told me then that, and I guess I had went and did labs maybe a few days before. And then that's when they told me then, okay, Miss Taylor, you've been holding up all this time, but now it's time. You need to come in because they are failing. You need to come in and we need to start this process. And if y'all can remember, that's when Uncle Joe had a talk with y'all. That's when, yeah, and that's when we got that.
I don't recall them calling.
No, because it was on me and Joe when we was getting ready to go to the service.
Okay.
Yep, and that's why he had, and it made me feel good because he was able to sit down with the family and explain everything to the family and know what's what. But that's when I got the call, and I will never forget that day. But yeah.
Why did you think that you didn't tell anyone?
I was in denial, and I was just really trying to think that I could push it up under the rug, and I didn't want to face it, and I just thought it was okay, yeah, whatever, but I didn't want to face it. I was in denial, and I would just talk to him about it because I know he had went through it, and by him going through it, he could help me deal with it. And he used to tell me all the time, it's coming, but I just couldn't bring it and mention it to my kids. How far it was and how long I had been fighting with it or nothing. So I was in denial. And that's exactly what it was. I was pushing under the rug thinking that, oh, I'm gonna be okay. Everything gonna be okay. Not me, but here we are now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We are here. Her and I are going to be tested.
It's our turn. I am the chosen one. I can feel it in my heart.
Our oldest sister, Kenesha, who's been going through all the blood work and testing and all that stuff, she unfortunately found out that she wouldn't be a match.
At the very last step.
So we're gonna go through the process and see if we're fortunate enough to be able to
Be matched.
Where was I at when I found out I was approved to be the donor for the paired exchange?
I remember.
Where was I?
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question for her. It might be wrong.
Just tell me where I was
But
at.
we was at home, and I would never forget. It was the day after Mother's Day, and that was my Mother's Day.
Yeah.
We wish we would have got the call the day before or something like that, but it was the day after Mother's Day.
Yeah, it was.
And they called. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So when I found out I was actually approved for the paired exchange, Mother's Day, I think we went over my sister's house, and I remember writing in the card, I wish that I could the gift that I could be giving you is that I'm able to give you my kidney or whatever. So, because we have been like anticipating, you know, the approval after Pig had went through it. But I remember writing in the car saying I wish that I could present, you know, my testing approval to be able to be a donor for you or whatever. And then it was the next day, it was in the morning, it was early in the morning. And it wasn't even, it was a phone call? Yeah, it was a phone call. It was a phone call, but they also sent a note. And I just remember them calling me, but I was in my room and I didn't share with my mom at the time. I was in the room by myself. And so I talked to her by myself, the coordinator by myself, when she told me, and I just was, you know, in shock and just overcome with all kinds of emotions. And then I hung up, and there's this app that keeps, you know, you updated on everything that also had the results of everything. And it was this, you know, congratulations on, you know, being approved to be a donor. And I just remember showing you the phone for you to actually read the message. And I remember giving it to her to let her read it, and she just started crying and just was so happy. And yeah, we cried and hugged. It was emotional.
It was very emotional because it was really emotional, and it was more so that it just, like, the day before that was Mother's Day, and to me that was all that I could ask for Mother's Day, was just being able to, for her to be able to give me a kidney, you know. So that was really a blessing right there.
Are there supposed to be any like big changes for you health-wise after?
So the way your kidney works, we're born with two kidneys. Most people are. We're supposed to be born with two kidneys, but the human body can function completely fine with just one kidney. I think most of the struggle happens right after the donation, where that one kidney has to strengthen up and be strong enough to do the work that two kidneys were doing. So right after donation, it'll be really tough for me. I'll be really tired because my kidney isn't necessarily big enough yet to do all the work that two kidneys were just doing. It'll be extremely important for me to eat right, eat healthy, because I do have a family history of high blood pressure, diabetes. So I'm susceptible to those same things. And now that I only have one kidney, I absolutely could in the future have chronic kidney disease myself if I don't take care of my body. So eating right, exercise, and period in life is important, but it's even more important now that I only have one kidney and I have a family history of chronic kidney disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, which are proponents of causing chronic kidney disease. So it's absolutely important to live a healthy lifestyle after I donate. I have a 4-year-old, she just turned 4, and I have a 7-year-old. My 4-year-old doesn't really get it. She'll understand. She understands if someone is sick or if they have to go to the hospital, or if something's wrong, she gets it. But my 7-year-old is just a old soul, and she just gets it. She understands anything that you tell her. So I had to explain to her, once I was approved. Well, I had to battle with if I was gonna tell her. But she's so smart and so sharp. It's something I don't think I could have did without telling her. We're so close. I'm there every single day. So I just tried to, figure out how I was gonna tell her. But I told her one day after I picked her up from school, I said, because she knew that I had been waiting on a call, because we talked about when my sister went through the testing process and all that stuff. So she was aware, and she saw her, Parker and Taylor see Nanny putting her medicine in her little organizer. So they had started to ask questions in, and I had to explain to her, Nanny's sick, and she, we're born with 2 kidneys, and one of, hers isn't working. And so me, Kanisha, and Ikea were going through the process to see if we can donate our kidney to her. So she understood everything about what was going on, but she didn't know that I was going to donate yet. So I picked her up from school one day after I got the call, and I told her, I got the approval, and, I tried to say it in a happy voice to, influence her being excited and happy. I said, guess what? Mommy got approved. I'm going to be able to donate, and Nanny's going to get a new kidney. She said, really? Wow. And she just got quiet. And so I'm just trying to act normal, because I didn't want to be, emotional or extra and influence her on doing that. And then next thing you know, I just heard that loud, ugly cry. And I just oh God. And, I had to keep my cool and not get emotional. But, I was like, what's wrong, baby? I don't want to lose you. And so I actually recorded it. I turned the audio on. I've been trying to keep track and just record the whole process. But she had a big breakdown, and she just was bawling, crying, saying that she didn't want to lose me, and asking a ton of questions. The big why came in now. So she wants to understand, why does she even need surgery? Why do you have to do this? Why couldn't she just be healthy? Why, all the whys, it just doesn't make sense to her. But she gets it now, so I'm glad I prepped her for it, because again, it'll affect her as she gets older. She'll understand what it means to really be healthy, because she'll tell me in a minute, I'm gonna eat, I use it as leverage too. I make her eat her vegetables and all that kind of stuff too. So, but no, it was definitely tough telling her, and she has her moments. So I'm in communication with her teacher about it, because the day of, we're gonna still take her to school, make sure it's a normal day for her and nothing, so that she doesn't have to think about it. But just in case she's having a rough time at school, her teacher will know. But yeah, it's been rough for her, but at the same time, she understands and she gets it. So. And Parker has no clue. Yeah, Parker has no clue. But if I mention hospital, she'll say, why, Mommy, are you sick? So we're just I'll wait, and she'll see me when I come out of surgery, and then she'll ask the question she asks. But yeah, it was an experience. And randomly one day I picked her up from school, and she was sad, and I was what's wrong? I was just thinking about it all day. She just had a breakdown again. So she has her spurts of breakdowns. So.
Big sister up first. Almost showtime. How you feeling?
Good. Ready.
You nervous?
Not anymore. I'm just ready.
No.
A little nerves, but just ready to do this
Thank you so much.
all day.
You are an angel.
I'll take that.
Shit, you're awkward. What to say?
Like, you ready to be like, no, I'll take that.
Right.
Happy medicine.
I actually don't know what it feels like.
Oh, no. You've never had any surgery. Just help with it.
That's the tequila, right, Doc?
That's what everyone says, but
Yeah, so good. I got it.
Feel it
Look,
now.
look, look. Feel it now.
what does it feel like?
Nice. Like I'm doing a lot.
Mr. Bye.
Health-wise, what changes are you gonna make post-surgery?
Oh, the changes that I'm gonna make is gonna be once I get out of my post, I probably won't be able to get back into the first of the years where we're looking at being able to interact and stuff. But before then, health-wise, my eating, exercising, just taking care of my body is, exercising and eating right plays a big part of your health, and my plan is to that. And I don't think I treasured life then more than I will treasure it after this transplant. And it's because I had to get all the way down to what I'm going through now in order to get where I'm about to be. And I have a lot of high expectations that I'm going to be looking for myself, nobody else, for myself. And like I said, I'll be able to show my family better than I could tell them, because I plan on working out, exercising, eating right, all of that. I'm going to change. It's going to be a change. And I can't wait for the change. God just gonna put me through it. I'm just gonna be ready. Cause I gotta take care of my husband, cause he's dealing with his health issues. So I gotta get strong to take care of him, because he's been putting his on the back burner because of me, trying to help me as well. So when I get through with this, I'll be taking care of him. And I just want to say that I just feel that I'm just so blessed. They had wanted me to start dialysis way back in July. That's when they told me once my GFR is your numbers that they look at. Once my GR hit 15, that I would need to start dialysis. So they wanted me to start way back in July, and all the time I'm thinking like, okay, well, when they say you gotta start or whatever. But thank God I always had Joe, and Joe always kept me up on what's what and how to do it and what's what or whatever. So I'm thinking like, oh God, no, I don't want to start dialysis, because I'm hearing all these horror stories and looking at these people's arms and the way everything is looking, and I can't do it. I can't do it. So Uncle Joe told me, he said, well, Deb, he said, well, it's your choice. He said, whenever they tell you, and if you don't feel like you're ready, they can't force you. So I'm like, oh, really? He said, yeah, it's up to you. Whenever you feel fatigued to the where you can't take it no more, and then I was started looking at him like, when his numbers reached a certain amount, he wasn't doing dialysis. Like, wait a minute, why should I have to start or whatever? But anyway, I'm saying that all to say that my numbers was past 15 back in July. They wanted me to start. So when the doctor told me that day, he said, okay, well, Miss Taylor, he said, I need you to start dialysis, and we're going to go ahead and do your paperwork and stuff. And I said, well, doctor, I'm sorry, but I'm not ready, And he said, what do you mean you're not ready? And I said, I'm not ready to start, And he said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and fill out the papers and stuff. So just whenever you're ready, you just come and let us know. I mean, that was that was just the bottom line to it.
And she was real adamant,
You know,
and had faith about
yeah.
not having to be on dialysis.
And I didn't. It was just like a nightmare, you know, about the dialysis. And God just blessed me enough to where I don't. And then my number study was going down, and fatigue and vomiting, nauseate, everything just started. Everything was happening. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. Until I can't walk no more, they gotta pull me up out of here. That's just how I felt. And then when they called and said, okay, well, we got the donor, they called RG phone first. RG didn't answer her phone. RG came upstairs and she said, oh, Mama, UCLA just called me. And at the same voice, when she's telling me that they're calling, my phone rang. And then, oh, I look at it, UCLA RG. So I put the speaker on. And the lady said, our coordinator, our transplant coordinator, she said, well, I had just called RG. And I said, oh yes. I said, she's in the shower. And I said, I never forget it. But she was right there. You know, I was like, oh yeah, she missed your call. She was in the shower. And she said, okay. She said, was it possible you could get RG to the phone? And I said, okay. And RJ. But RG was sitting right there all the time. So I had a speaker, and it was the window day. I think window stayed home that day or something. But thank God, Window was there too. So he was right there. We got the call. And she said that she was talking. And as she was talking, me and RD was sitting like we are now. I think Window was sitting over behind me, and she was talking, and then I turned around, I looked at the window, and I said, they got a donor. And I turned around, when you remember that? I said, they got a donor, Window, and I'm just talking. And then she said, okay, well, I want you two to know that there's a possibility that we have a donor, you know, and things just like, and I just couldn't say nothing. I was speechless and da-da-da-da-da. But the transplant team always knew as well that I didn't want to go on dialysis, and they hung in there with me, they stood by me, and they just knew that I did not want to do dialysis. But before we got that call, it was crazy, and I would never forget it. It was about a couple days. We hadn't heard nothing from them, maybe a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And a couple of days went by, and I just said, I'm gonna call them and see what's the update. RG called them, just say on Monday, and we got that call. I got the date, everything wrote down, but the next 2 days they called. So we wondered, did she bring it back up, spark it back up for them to call us? Yeah. Or exactly what was it? Like, oh, what, did they forget about us or what? But when they did call us, they called us with good news. But they knew how I felt about getting on dialysis as well. But it's crazy because I had a lot of bad days, and they say you let your good days override your bad days or whatever. But a lot of times people didn't know what I was going through. I was going through a whole lot. I mean, I had a lot of days or I couldn't get out the bed. I had to drag myself out of the bed, and I kept saying in my mind, like, oh my God, is it time for me to start? What I need to do? I just was always coming in, Mom, you okay? You want this? I just want my door closed. I just didn't want to be bothered. I wouldn't eat. I didn't know what was, I just didn't want to do dialysis. But when we got the call, that was the best call that I had, could say that I had in forever.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So, yeah, that was really crazy. Yeah. So here we are, here now, so. RG, you should be getting ready to get out of there. I'm just now finna get ready to get in there, girl. Hope everything is going good. I hope, but I know everything's going good with you. I love you, and I'll see you in the morning, they said.
Yeah.
You sleep? They say you
I want to sleep. I want to sleep.
They say you goddamn sleep.
He's like, no.
This whole kidney journey has been a rough roller coaster for me. It taught me really how you really need to not take advantage of your life, for one, and really enjoy life and take care of your body. And all the do's and don'ts that they tell you health wise. If I could turn the tables and the clock back, it's a lot of things that I regret that I've done in my life far as health wise. Just taking care of my health, my exercising, my eating right, stuff like that. It really took a toll on me in the journey. And like I said, it seemed like once I lost my brother, that's when my health really started going down. But I'm not gonna say I have any regrets. I have plenty of regrets, but I can't hold on to that. I have to move forward. And like with this going on and this kidney, but with me, having a second chance, it's giving me a second chance at life. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run with it. And my plan is to make sure that I live a better life for myself, because life is not promised to us. And the way things are going now, I can't bear the fact of not being here for my husband, my kids, and my grandkids. So, with the grace of God being on my side, if I get out of this one, and I know He won't let me down, I could show my family better than I could tell them, but things are gonna be different with me. Things are totally gonna be different.
One word I definitely could use has been educational. Prior to going through all this, like I had no clue even what, chronic kidney disease was. I didn't know really, the causes of it. I didn't know kind of what symptoms look like. I didn't know like how susceptible African Americans especially were to having chronic kidney disease. And I didn't even know what my mom was going through. I was living in Florida, and all I knew is she took a lot of medicine. She used to have diabetes. She just always had health problems. And I was living in Florida, and I always wanted to come back to California, and I would just tell myself, like, it was more so in regards to my dad, like, oh my God, because he smokes. And I just like, if something ever happened to my dad and I'm not there, I felt like I was missing out. Not even really thinking about like my mom's health. I just knew she took a lot of medicine. But I always said, like, I need to get back to California. Like, my family needs me. My dad, he seems sick. He'll have episodes of different things happening. And, I really struggle with being so many miles away from everybody. So for me, it's been educational. And it's been a real humbling experience. It's given me life and made me look at life in a completely different way, and made me not take life for granted in the decisions that I make, whether it's the way I eat, how active I am, how I raise my kids, because I have 2 girls. But it's been a real humbling and learning experience, and I've been able to pass that on to anybody that I cross paths with. My experience I'm going through is being able to teach my kids, anybody within my circle, about the reality of how important your kidneys really are. But it's been a journey. I can go real deep into it, because when I think about it, it's like, this is the real reason like I left and why I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, this is why I left. I was in an unhappy situation in Florida, and God always has a way of putting you right where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be. And this is the exact reason why I'm here. And I left Florida, and I'm here to be able to be a sacrifice so that my mom can have a better life.
Hi, Audrey. How are you feeling? You okay?
Mm-hmm.
You in pain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you just wake up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your babies just got here.
Oh, they did?
They downstairs.
It's like a back cramp.
That's how you feel?
You know what? Leg cramp, you said?
Back cramp.
Oh, back cramp. Sorry. Okay, let me take a quick listen to your breathing.
How did it go?
Take a couple of deep breaths, please.
Surgeon said everything went great.
I just want to sleep.
Go to sleep. We'll be here when you wake up.
Everybody in recovery. Mom's in.
Yeah, Mom's not in recovery yet. She's still in surgery. She'll probably be in surgery for another 3 hours. She hasn't been in that long.
Hi, beautiful. Hi, big girl. No, I'm not crying. I'm good. I'm out. That's what you were worried about, right? Mommy is just resting. I'm out. You should be happy. Yeah, I'm so excited.
She was over here. Did you see her?
She across the hall.
She across the hall.
She
Yeah. How you feeling? No, I'm going to see her now. They called us downstairs for her. How you feeling? You in a lot of pain? They give you some pain medicine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can see you.
You want to open a curtain? Tell Pig to open the curtain.
Yeah.
Tell Pig open the curtain.
I saw them carry that big old bucket of pee. That thing working like a champ, huh?
Yeah, they said it's working instantly.
That's what's up. I love you.
I love you more. Words can't even express how much I love you, baby.
You know what? Guess what?
What?
You got your color back.
On everything.
Yeah, right.
No, mama, already. Your color came back already.
Yeah, I've been talking about my color.
You don't look Indian no more.
I was trying to look the shade, your daddy color.
No.
Right. They said you probably gonna stay downstairs tonight, baby. They told you.
They told me right here.
Yeah, 'cause they got a full house.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay. I'm comfortable, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too.
Okay.
A lot of pain.
Yeah, me too. It just feel like a major badass menstrual cramp.
Oh, that's what it feel like.
Yeah.
Well, I got a nurse right here that haven't left my side.
Yeah.
So she'll be here with me to the end of time.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
If you could tell someone else who's going through this journey, what would you say to them?
To have faith. To have faith and have hope. Don't give up, because it have you at a place to where you really want to give up. But you have to look at the overall picture and just have faith and just pray, because it have you to where you really be like, you know what, I can't do this. I'm tired. I can't do it. What's gonna happen. But I would tell that person to just hold on, you know, and God sees everything, and you know, God is not gonna let you down, you know. But I just feel like the transplant system, not just kidney system, all of the transplant system, heart, liver, all of them, it's just so messed up because it seems like the sicker you are, you would think that they help you more, but it doesn't happen like that. Like, they had to say one time for me not to go to the emergency room. You go to the emergency room, we need to know it, then they want to take you off the list, they got to go through these tests and do that or whatever. But I don't know, it's not, I would just tell them, they got to have hope and they got to just hold on, and just pray, because you got to have faith. You really do. And if you're a believer, you got to believe that there's a tomorrow. You have to believe that there's a God. And when you have a support team, you have to have that support team, because without your support system, that's when you really want to give up. Without my support team, I wouldn't be here today. I have a dynamic support team, and I wouldn't trade them in for nothing in the world. Without my team, there would be no me. But I just would say, you gotta have a support team and just hold on and have faith, because you could do it. There's always a tomorrow.
I think what I would share from like my position of being like a daughter, a sibling, or someone connected to someone going through it is absolutely do your research, do your homework, and educate yourself. You do not have to take everything that a doctor tells you and take that as being, just what it is. There are multiple doctors, there are multiple hospitals, and you educating yourself and you doing the homework and research yourself, so that when you go in there, you understand. You also know what you're talking about when you're talking to the different teams. I'll take, for instance, I'm so grateful, I have a sister, or two sisters that are both nurses, an RN and an LVN. Chronic kidney disease is very prominent in African Americans, and they have this new testing that they do where if you have this gene, which is only found in African Americans, just say she has it and she needs a kidney, someone that also has it automatically cannot donate to her, right? But it's such a small amount of testing that's been done in regards to that not all hospitals do that. So my sister was able to do her own homework and own research, because once she was denied based on her having that same specific gene, but it not being enough study done to really, but that particular hospital we were at, they automatically deny you to be able to donate. But she did her homework, she did her research, and she found out, well, there are hospitals that still will allow me to donate should I be fit in every regard.
And let me say this, I'm gonna cut her out right here. And baby, what did they tell her that for? Man, she did that her researching. They was keeping it from me. All I know, the next few days, they was talking about taking me out of UTLA. They was talking about sending me over to another hospital. We moving everything from them, because everybody don't do the same testing. And oh my God.
Yeah, so we found out that going to another hospital, they didn't necessarily take having that gene into account. And if everything else was fine, and the only issue was that gene, that she still could be a proponent of donating. So that's why I say do your homework, do your research, educate yourself, because had she not done her own homework, her own research, we wouldn't have known those things. Also, just knowing what your family is going through, you're going through, it's important to educate yourself. And then the other thing I would say is like support. Look for support in every way or form. It's out there. Facebook groups, social media groups, like research and hashtags, blogs, forums, and things like that has been such an educational resource, such an outlet for people that are going through the similar things that I'm going to be going through, what she's going through. And it's complete strangers that are willing to help you through the process, willing to be that support team if you don't have it within your family. I think that having the support and being willing to open yourself up to, just a stranger's support is extremely important. So if I could give any advice, it would be to educate yourself, do your homework, do your research, and and get you a support team, even if it's, you know, strangers.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
And pray.
Yeah,
That's the number
yeah.
one thing.
And then another thing too, like RG mentioned about the girls, they was tested and things like that as well. And the oldest one, Kenesha, she got rejected due to that one test. So they started from the oldest and worked their way down. And the thing is crazy about it is by them both being nurses, it's like they deal with this every day. And for me to hear Nakia talk about how she prepped these people for these kidney tests, they do everything for kidney, and then for her mother to turn around and have it, she got a story, because it's like, it was unbelievable. Like, oh my God, my mama going through this. She knew exactly, bam, 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 you know, oh yeah. And it was just crazy, you know, because she do this for her patients. And then now she's dealing with her mom going through it. And to hear her talk about it, it's just like unbelievable. Like, oh wow, like, you know, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. It's gonna be all over with in a minute, y'all. Thank God for RG. Thank God for RG. If it wasn't for RG, I would be on dialysis. I will be still on the transplant list. The transplant list for California is from age of 10 years. So it's been 2 years now. So I've been on the list for 7 months. I have everything wrote down. I got the date. They put me on the list. I was on the transplant list for 7 months before I got the call. They took me off for 1 month because they wanted me to go in and take a test, with me opening my mouth. So I learned from there never to tell them how I actually feel, because when you tell them that,
I disagree.
you tell them that, they just all over you.
I
So
disagree. Tell them exactly how you feel.
and you
What's wrong
supposed
with
to,
you.
but they took me off the list until after I got that certain thing cleared up. But I was actually on the list 7 months, and I thank God that I have a living donor, because when you have a living donor, you don't have to wait as long. There's a way of going about it, direct or either through the peer exchange program. So there's all kind of ways, you know, resources that you can look into and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it.
Say the date.
October 15th, 2019.
It's our special day.
Kidneyversary.
Kidneyversary. Right.